Hey everybody, it's Jared Johnson again. Well, I've been Jared Johnson this whole time, but I'm back with you again, and I'd like to tell you another story. Some of you have heard me talk before about how much I love helping people, and how I believe God created me with a passion for helping people and loving people, and got another story about a random encounter I had in a time that God placed someone in my path that I wasn't really expecting. So this happened last year in 2022. So if you're watching this 14 years from now, I'm going to give you a little time frame as to when this happened. This happened in 2022. I was driving back down to Texas. I had been visiting some of my friends and family in Kentucky. And I'm driving back. It's approximately 3 o'clock in the morning. And driving through Arkansas, and I'm down to about a quarter tank of gas. So I'm like, all right, let me go ahead and stop here and fill up. So I stop in some city in Arkansas. I don't even remember the name of it. It's somewhere I'd never had been before. I was literally just stopping to get gas. So I stop, fill up with gas, go inside, purchase something to drink, probably Dr. Pepper, and visit the lavatory while I'm there. And as I'm coming outside, from the time it takes me to come out the door of the building to walk towards my car, I hear a voice say, "Excuse me, sir." Now keep in mind, I'm in some city I've never been in my life. Don't know anybody there. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know who this person is. I don't know what their intentions are. I don't know if I'm going to turn around and have a gun pointed at me. I don't know what's going on, right? It would have been very easy, and I think very understandable for me to just keep walking, not even turn around, get my car, and keep going, and never know what the person wanted. And I very nearly did that. But something told me, well, I say something, that something was the Holy Spirit, told me, stop and see what the guy wants. So I did. So I turned around, and I see the guy standing there, and I say, "Yeah, what's going on?" Well, he proceeds to tell me that he's out of a job. He's been unemployed for a while, and he's planning on meeting his son for breakfast in a few hours. And it's I don't know what he said, 20-30 minute drive. wasn't real far, but he tells me, he's like, "Man, I don't even have enough gas to get there." And he said, "Man, I'm just hoping." He said, "I've asked several other people, nobody will help me." He admits this to me, and he says, "I was just hoping maybe you can help me out, like maybe just a couple of gallons of gas." So I said, "Well, where's your vehicle?" "Oh, it's right over here." I said, "All right, we'll pull over to the pump, and I'll meet you over there." So I walk over there, and the guy didn't ask me, "Hey man, can you just give me $10, $20, whatever." He was humble enough to say, "I just need a couple of gallons of gas. Like, that's all I'm asking you for here." And I didn't just hand him money. I did say, "Well, where's your vehicle?" Pull it to the pump. But once he's able to show me that he was driving a vehicle, he pulls over to the pump. I say, "All right." I come over there, and I put my card in, and I take the gas pump out, the handle on it, and I start pumping gas. Now I am very nice, but I'm not stupid. So I did position myself to where I could stand and keep an eye on this guy, because I wasn't going to turn my back to somebody I barely knew. And, in a situation like that, not many people around. So I stood there, kept a close eye on him, and I engaged him in conversation. Asked him about his son and their breakfast plans and whatever as I was pumping gas. And we kept talking, and once I saw that the vehicle would hold 2 gallons or more, I thought, okay, this guy wasn't making that up. He really did need at least a couple gallons of gas. So I kept pumping gas, and I kept talking to him, and I partially kept him talking to distract him from how much gas I was putting in his truck, because I really did want to help the man out. I felt like he genuinely was in a situation where he needed some help, and I didn't want him worried about how much money I was spending on him. So I ended up filling up his tank. It's about $20. And when he finally saw that, he said, "Oh my gosh," he said, "Man, You didn't have to do that. I wasn't going to ask you to do that. And I said, you know what? I didn't have to do any of this, but I wanted to. He said, my gosh, man, thank you. I wish there's some way I could pay you back. I said, don't worry about any of that. I said, let me ask you this. You told me you didn't have any money for gas. Do you have anything, what are you and your son going to do for breakfast? I don't even know, man. I guess I hope he has some money. I don't know. I said, well, you want to go inside and get y'all something to eat. I'll buy you whatever you want to, from the convenience store in here, and you can take them to him. He says, man, I appreciate that, sir, but it probably won't be good, a couple hours from now or whatever. I said, yeah, that's probably true. So I gave him another $20 from my wallet. I said, here you go. Get you and your son something for breakfast. He said, no, you've done too much. I can't take this. I said, yeah, you can. Here you go. I said, get you and your son something for breakfast. And as I was walking away, about to get in my car, he says, man, thank you again. He said, thank you so much. He said, God bless you, sir. And I said, thank you. He does every day. I pray that he will for you as well. And I got my car to drive off, and as I was driving out of the parking lot, I remember thanking God for that opportunity. And I thought about all the little pieces, all the little factors involved. I could have chosen a different week to go and see my family in Kentucky. I could have chosen a different day to drive back. I could have chosen a different time to leave. I could have chosen to stop and get gas when I was at half a tank instead of a quarter tank, or I could have waited until I was almost on empty. I stopped at that exact moment, at that exact gas station, on that exact day. And there was about a 10-second window from the time I came out of that building to the time I was getting into my car. That's the only opportunity that man had to say to me, excuse me, sir. I choose to believe that's not a coincidence. I believe God put him in my path for that reason, because I asked God to place people in my path who need his help. And God knows that I love to help people. He knows that's part of who he created me to be. And there that man was. And, sometimes people will say to me, man, Jared, that's really nice. You do these things for people, but I just can't do stuff like that all the time, and I just don't understand. Like that's great. I just don't really know what makes you that way. Here's the way I look at it. But for the grace of God, any one of us can be in situations that we don't know how to get ourselves out of. It's easy to look at other people and say, well, I don't know what's going on with you or what problems you have. Those are not my problems. Hey, man, look. But for the grace of God, I could have been born into a different family. I could have had a myriad of different circumstances in my life that have put me in a different situation. In fact, I'm going to tell you all about something that I don't talk about too often. And even those of you that know me have probably never really heard me go into detail about this. But I'm going to tell you about a time where I needed some help really, really bad. And this was several years ago. But it was real early one morning, before daylight, okay? I was in a place that I didn't recognize. I didn't know where I was. I was disoriented, confused. I was scared. I was literally terrified, the most scared I probably ever have been in my life. My heart was pounding. I was breathing hard. I was crying. I was naked. I'm not trying to be funny here. I'm telling you the truth, okay? On this day, I was literally naked and crying hard and scared for my life. Didn't know where I was. Didn't know how I was going to get myself out of the situation I was in. By the grace of God, there were people there to help me when I needed it most. There was a man there who I had never seen. I don't even know him. I don't know his name right now. But God placed a man there to help calm me down, help stabilize me a little bit. And there was a woman there that I didn't know at that time. She wrapped her arms around me. And even though I was still disoriented and scared, suddenly I began to feel safe. And my heart rate started slowing down, and I started breathing more normal, and suddenly the crying ended up stopping. Now, in case y'all hadn't figured it out, I am describing the day that I was born. I was helpless, naked, scared, defenseless. But I wasn't tossed out on the street. I wasn't given up by a woman who didn't want to have me. I was in a hospital. There was a man there that's a doctor whose name I don't know. He placed me in the arms of a woman I didn't know at that time. I now call her mom. She's made a big difference in my life. But by the grace of God, I could have been born into a different family in different circumstances. And I don't know where I would be today. So yeah, I'm passionate about helping people. I love helping people. Because but for the grace of God, I don't know where I would be. And He's placed people in my life that have made a difference in my life. And I think oftentimes about a scripture. It's a story of Jesus talking to one of His disciples, Simon Peter. And it's very near leading up to the crucifixion. And Jesus says to him, Simon Peter, do you love me? He asks him 3 different times. Simon Peter, do you love me? Peter says, yes, Lord, I love you. Jesus says back to him, then feed my sheep. Now, Jesus describes Himself as being a shepherd and us being His sheep. He said to Simon Peter, do you love me? Then feed my sheep. And that resonates strongly with me, and I often feel God saying to me, hey, Jared, do you love me? Yes, Lord, I love you. Then Jared, feed my sheep. And that can look like many different things. That can look like filling up a guy's gas tank in Arkansas who I've never met. It can look like working out in hot conditions and staying out in the heat and sweating really bad and being thirsty and wanting to go inside, but being willing to put up with it longer than most people because it keeps somebody else out of the heat. I get to feed His sheep. It can be showing an almost inhuman amount of patience and tolerance for somebody's mouth and behavior and things you just don't understand. Controlling yourself when you want to react in a different way. Jared, you love me? Then feed my sheep. So anyway, that's my story for today. I just want to encourage all of you, if you're here today and you're a believer, you're walking with Jesus, look for those opportunities to feed His sheep. There's somebody in your life who needs you. Feed His sheep. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Jared Johnson. Hope I see you soon.